Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John's reports for the 12th of February. Well, we talked about it. We had the reset here of the steel coming from underneath. It had crossed, the red as it was moving along. And pretty much we'd seen the pivot from the green. So it was just a reset configuration we were looking at right here. And supported right along the 76% line. After we had a little weakness exposure that we saw. So from the DOC spread that took place, that was right here. This is one of those classic turnaround configurations, and all we're doing is pushing right back up to the original 2735. And like we talked about before, when you have the rising gold here, what we're waiting for is the Azure to meet. Now in the NASDAQ, though, it had actually connected right here. So the potential for the NASDAQ to have a little bit more weakness certainly exists. Until you get the steel to completely cross back above, you're still in a slightly weak position. We haven't really been too concerned about this within this rally. Has just been pretty solid throughout, and the weaknesses that have been exposed have been minor, despite all the consternation about this, that, the recession, yada, yada, that hasn't materialized, even though everyone swore it was already here. The problems for the euro, now you even have Italy that went beyond destroying their central bank to now they want to take control of all of their gold reserves. So this is going to be a thorn in the side for the EU continuation. It's certainly going to put pressure on the euro. It doesn't help the S&P in that because at the end of the day, a higher euro really makes it cheaper for U.S. exports, as well as for deflecting some of the discrepancies in earnings, because higher euros certainly made the S&P look like it was earning more. But we're seeing a lot of revisions to the downside from S&P companies and that. What we do have, though, is the full revisit of the dip below the red line here that has taken place. Still don't see a turnaround because we never got this steel reset. So this is a perfect example here where you have the steel reset right here at this particular point that led to the pop. Once the DOC spread, this time no reset of the steel. So the potential for that to continue to erode still exists. And with the current situation, we still don't have a hyperinflation setup. This has already reflected a pretty decent inflationary construct. So you're going to have to see something new and spectacular to really spice things up, so to speak. The trade for the day on the 5K was pretty straightforward. We had this positive extreme right here at the 04 1/4, which meant that anywhere from 05 would be just fine as far as a retrace. Put in a bunch of them, and then it just kind of went blah, 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 blah for the longest period of time. We came to the 23, and then finally, boom, hit the target. And that was about the extent of the day until we get here into after hours, as it was reported that a deal was being struck for the budget in the U.S., and that was super positive news that created, dip below the red line. I think this may actually be enough to, let's see. The Iron Hawk from a daily standpoint bought in at 2703. And no, so you got a little more ways to go. The ATR at the time was somewhere in the, I can't even get the reading on that one, 26, 27 range. So yeah, you're probably going to get to 2735-ish or so for that to sell out from a daily standpoint. The 50K, let me adjust that chart. $50K with my adjusted paint bar, it liked it all the way back from, well, you see this orange candle set up right here. Typically what it's going to want to look for will be the first dip of the orange right after it. which would be right about here for the 2687 from a long standpoint. Then we also produced the P pivots, and you can see how that's progressed from there. Very nice. I would say right in line with the expectation of everything we were looking for, and it's moving along quite nicely on that. I think shrink it down, show you a little bit more of what its last series was. So capturing those bottoms fairly nice, leaving into the red area, and then following it quite precisely. So all in all, looking really strong with that. Hope to finalize a few more details with it. The finished version isn't going to show you the zone, because that's all it's representing with these numbers. The zone 1 is 0 to 23, 2 is 23 to 38, 3, so on and so forth. But looking good. So getting everything squared away with all these details, and that'll get adjusted into the 50K Opus program for buying and selling. In the process right here of mimicking the ABM to try and follow suit with exactly what's taking place on the paint bar, and that will make it the super effective. But as always, I will keep putting up details on the Skype chat. We're looking for just, we're probably going to see some of this positive extreme. I would look to see them try and get to that 29, because that will really be a key level to try and overtake. Certainly anything that can break into a new range from the highs that we received, which is around 3650-ish. And then, of course, the peak range right up there at 2797, right around that 2800. So get a long way to go to get back to that, but step by step. Nice little market reversions, scare everybody, then move right back to where you were before. It's just kind of the way it works. As always, though, I will put up anything that pops up relevant. This was just pretty boring the other day, so this one should have a little bit more excitement with this degree of a move, and with so many positive extremes attached to it that need to be retraced to, that could give us a little more volatility, which is always nice. Trade well, we'll talk again later.